Do we actually need villains in Starcraft 2? That's a very interesting question that's often raised in the community. Some people believe they bring new viewers and extra attention to the game, while others think that they do more harm than good and just ruin the reputation of the whole esports. But first, what even makes you a villain? Usually, there is only one objective criteria. People massively root against you and simply want you to lose. It might be due to a certain playstyle, balance issues, or trash talk.
You know what StarCraft needs is they need a villain. You know that guy that everyone loves to hate.
Yeah.
And you know, like when you look at like pro wrestling or things like that, you have that person that's
heel.
not afraid to talk smack,
Yeah.
to be arrogant, to be cocky, and everyone just wants to hate this guy. It brings much more attention to the sport. I know it's maybe not good for that person. I don't want to be that guy. Nobody wants to be that person. But every now and then you do have that one person that accepts that role, and it really makes the sport good for everybody.
Speaking about bad manners, Starcraft 2 had quite a bit of such players, mostly in Wings of Liberty era. Idra would trash talk half of the ladder and behave in an impolite manner towards pretty much the majority of players.
I have no idea what he's going to do, but it's going to be bad. This guy's really bad. This guy's just bad. Actually, this guy's terrible. He is terrible. And this guy's actually awful. He's just awful.
You're kind of notorious for being a little bit bad manner.
Nah, he's a piece of trash who wouldn't win any games if he didn't play Protoss.
NaNiWa seems kind of like a douchebag.
And me knowing you personally, I would say that might be based in some truth.
That's the weird part about playing Europeans. They all have their own like unique little weird cheesy builds that make no sense because no one else does them. It's really frustrating to play against.
All right, what do you think about Cruncher, and how do you think this match is going to go?
I'm playing really bad, but it's more than enough to beat him.
StarCraft 2 is fucking stupid.
Destiny was edgy with his humor, and he was vocally critical if he didn't like something about the game.
The Overlord will serve as a retard magnet, drawing out the Protoss army from his base, and then my Lings will come in from behind to hold the army in place while I thrust my mighty roach dick.
I almost feel like this is like a lesson that you learn in history. Like, it's common sense. Like, look at the Betamax versus VHS. Like, Betamax was a superior format in every single way, but VHS, you know, was the one that was more aggressive with their marketing. And what did we end up with? You know, that became the prominent thing. And I mean, it's the exact same way. Like, StarCraft 2 might be a better game than other things, but if it doesn't get widespread acceptance, like, you're always going to have a worse scene as the result of it. You know, like, if there are 500,000 people watching League of Legends, it doesn't matter that StarCraft 2 is more complex or, you know, whatever. I love Artosis, but in his blog about StarCraft is the most beautiful game of like, I mean, that's fine, but
that's not what it sounds like.
That's exactly what it sounds like. That's exactly what it sounds like. StarCraft 2 is the most beautiful game, and it's beautiful and it's spelled, you know, whatever. I don't know if it does. It sounds. My voice is terrible. I can't impersonate him.
And NaNiWa could boast with the highest level of plays, but he also indicated his lack of desire to act within society's norms or even acceptable behavior.
And what? And he's gone straight cross positions. He knows this game doesn't matter. Okay, well, to finish off the last in history, NaNiWa beat Nesty in the MLG Providence winners bracket as well. So there's a lot of history here, but it doesn't matter because NaNiWa knows it's a throwaway game, doesn't want to play it. He sent his probes and took his hand off the keyboard. And here comes 6 probes straight across the map. He is attacking with all his probes, and he's going to try and target down. Nesty doesn't realize that he pulls one drone off, and he takes out one drone immediately. It's just drones versus probes. Who is going to win? Neither has time to recharge. Nesty, with a couple extra drones and some target firing, wins the game, and NaNiWa manages to throw away the game in 1 minute.
But what unites the trio is the amount of drama they created during their active time. While some might argue whether they actually brought any value or moral good to the scene, it's almost the fact that their matches attracted more viewers and helped StarCraft 2 pump up those rookie numbers. No matter whether you loved or hated them, you could expect something interesting and controversial with every match they had. Like extra free content, whether it's a cheesy talk or a balance complaint. Studying these examples, we can easily understand why such people attract more views to the game. And if you take a look at real sports, there are many cases too, like Conor McGregor from UFC. Obviously, there are many great players and great matches, but there are not so many stories and cool narratives. And you have probably heard the phrase that humans are storytelling animals, and that's the exact reason why you are subscribed to my channel. Well, if you are not, then don't ruin my narrative and subscribe. And that's also why we enjoy having heroes and villains. They add an extra layer of narratives within the esports matches, something that's just beyond the game itself. But being a villain doesn't mean you should have a dislikable personality or be rude with other people. Each villain can have positive sides and a lot of charisma, and some players know how to trash talk the opponents in a funny way, more like a casual banter. Take MC for example. Apart from his exceptional skill level, he was incredibly entertaining with his jokes and acting. The Bostov's performance was a treasure.
I agree, but you know, it's 3-0, so it's not enough for me warm up. So can I warm up now?
Did you ever think you were going to lose?
Bitch, please.
Apollo has been cheering for Hyun this whole time, and he wanted Hyun to beat you. Do you have anything you want to say to Sean about that?
You know what? Apollo is a disgrace. All the time. Noob caster in the world and no skill. So, yeah. So, he don't cheer for me. If they have skill and manner and some good caster, they cheer for me, you know. Sorry, Apollo, next time cheer for me, and you are not noob.
Such players energize Starcraft 2 with many unique moments that go down in esports history. And actually, to be a villain, you don't even need to trash talk your opponents, there is another way to become one. As Fear Dragon mentioned in his own video on the same topic, you should definitely check it out by the way, the mere fact that you win too much might force some people to root against you.
One of my favorite examples of this was in Starcraft 2, a player named Serral went on an unprecedented 82-1 winning streak over the course of almost 350 days. During this winning streak, it became common for people to root against him despite him being one of the most honorable and well-mannered players around because he was too dominant. People either wanted to see someone new win for once, or they wanted a closer competition instead of feeling like he'd already won the tournament before it began.
And sometimes, if you are playing a race that has a big advantage over others, you can also be perceived as a villain. This happened to Sniper, the GSL champion who was very unpopular amongst the community due to how easy it was for Zero players at those times. And there was even a nice clip with him against Young.
I do believe we are about to have our second finalist here in the GSL.
Oh, GG!
All types of villains are important for the game as they add a new layer of content for each match. But there are two lines that you cannot cross, otherwise the impact can drastically change. Cheating or match fixing is something that makes you an ultimate villain, but it also ruins the scene and your own credibility and reputation. You pretty much become a criminal, and instead of having a notorious reputation, you are completely erased from the history, as it happened with Life, who went from being the greatest Starcraft 2 hero to being the Voldemort of the scene. And trash talk also has its limits. Crossing them will eventually make your behavior completely unacceptable. But no matter what attitude we have towards such players, it's certainly true that they can grab your attention immediately when you get to know them. It's either love or hate at the first sight, and the amount of Reddit and Team Liquid threads proves how popular these guys can be. Sometimes they don't even need to win tournaments to have more clout than actual champions. And according to some people, this is one of the problems with the current Starcraft 2 pro scene. Everything got too polite and even boring to some extent, with little to no drama or any big banter between players. I would personally disagree with that, but some Redditors and Starcraft 2 fans state that the lack of charisma and big rivalries between players is something that makes the watching experience less attractive, even with better gameplay and balanced state. So this is a really controversial topic. On the one hand, villains certainly bring more attention to the game, and is obviously helpful for a plethora of reasons. But on the other, their actions sometimes cause more harm than good, and in general, promoting bad behavior isn't something that a community or a society should be looking for, right? But perhaps for sports and games, extra banter is fine. And the only question is, where should we draw the line between playful banter acts and really offensive behavior? And this is the question that I have for you, my dear viewers. That's it for today. Leave your opinion in the comments, and don't forget to check out the stories of two of the most famous villains in Starcraft 2, Idra and NaNiWa. And as usual, have Have a nice day, and see you next time.